Okay, Dreamer, please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're looking at Jave's Castle Rush. I think this is one of the more straightforward Castle Rushes compared to the rest. The team here is very basic. As you know, Jave has a stun skill and a burn skill. So again, we see our familiar faces, Evan and Yui here, because they are the immunity providers against these particular statuses. And we have two other free heroes, Ace and Rachel here, for this very beginner's team. Of course, at this point you may have other heroes like Biscuit. You can definitely sub her in over Ace. So due to the nature of this team, you only have Feng Yan as the main damage dealer, so we have to use his skills to quickly clear off the two mob phases first and then proceed to enter Jave's phase. Now in Jave's phase, I tend to usually cast a shield so that you get more bulk on your team, because Jave has this very nasty counter attack that can actually wipe your entire team very quickly. Followed by, I will then cast Rachel's bottom skill, trying to land the debuff, the attack down on Jave, because that actually helps you mitigate a lot of damage. Then while waiting for Feng Yan's skill to be ready, you can just use Phoenix and then also just cast your continuous healing so that your units can survive better along the way. So once Feng Yan's skill is ready, just use it, and then as you saw, Jave countered quite heavily, cutting Rachel and Feng Yan's HP down by 40%. So this counter chance is very random. Sometimes he does it, sometimes he doesn't. It's very hard to say. There is a particular special hero that you can use for this particular raid, and that is Mei. Mei is a unit that can cast blind, and if you do manage to land the blind on Jave, he will not counter attack at all. Okay, blind is the direct counter to counter attacks. But unfortunately, Mei being Mei, I did not build Mei. So you probably would not have the resources to build Mei as well, just for this particular purpose, because she's not even an immunity provider. So if you're just building Mei for this, well, that's a lot of resources, especially considering she is also a fire element unit. So yeah, Rachel is kind of like a sub DPS here, using her Phoenix as a damage move as well as a debuff move. So just use it when it is ready and then wait for Feng Yan's cooldowns to be done. The other thing will be just to be sustaining your team with Evan's shield when necessary, which I really think will be necessary, and also Yui's continuous healing. And if you can possibly land Rachel's bottom skill on Jave, as you saw, the counter really did nothing in this case compared to the 2000 damage he did before. So the attack down from Rachel really helps as well. As we approach the last few turns, Jave's attack is going to be massively increased, and yeah, even he can potentially one-shot your entire team. So at this point, make sure that if you can, use Evan's shield so that your entire team is protected and you can last a little longer. Throw in a few more skills, especially your 3-man AoEs from Rachel and Feng Yan, and sneak in all the potential scores you can get. And yeah, Ace is really just here for passive defense down. He has useless skills, so there's really no need to use his skills unless necessary. This is another team. This will probably be the best team for this particular raid. We have Sieg here for the stun immunity instead of Evan, because Castle Rush is ultimately still a damage based mode. Okay, it's not really a mode that you need to sustain yourself for too long, because the boss only really does big damage towards the end, and if you can sustain that, then of course good for you, but if not, it is actually fine. So Sieg is used here because he directly increases the attack on for Taka, because Taka's in the back line, and not only that, he is also a healer. So you have actually two healers here, Yui and Sieg. who can both keep your team alive. Again, Rachel is better at the backline if she was T6 because she would then have 2 skills that hits 3 men, but unfortunately not a T6 Rachel. Because there are no other 3-man AoEs here and Phoenix is very important, we have to use Taka's skills to clear the first mobs, and then thereafter it will be best to use Sieg skills or just buff with Biscuit. But again, because Taka is on cooldown, it's preferably better not to buff so soon. And unfortunately, as I speak, you will have seen that both my Rachel single target and Sieg single target landed on the Rook instead and not on Jave. And that is very unfortunate because it's so important to land the debuffs on Jave so that you do more damage, so that you actually take less damage from him. So Sieg's heal is not that fantastic, I realized. It just heals a little amount, but nonetheless, whatever damage you can do on Jave, just do it. Again, I have to re-emphasize, you need to use Taka's bottom skill first, then use Taka's top skill to have consistent damage output. So use Rachel's Phoenix when it's ready. Hopefully, ouch. Yeah, so Jave hits really hard on the counters. Just be careful of that. And it's completely random, so we don't really know when he will strike. The thing about Taka is that he doesn't have any form of ways to sustain himself. So even if he does crit or does weakness hits, there's no way to heal back anything. So you can really only rely on Sieg and Yui to heal him back up. Yep, so if you are very unfortunately killed by Jave early on due to his counter, then I think your run is pretty much screwed. And there's really no point in continuing. So there is some RNG element here, even though this raid is very straightforward. And as you can see, it is a new record after all. This next team is actually one of the safer comps that I have used. You actually use Feng Yan as a secondary DPS instead, while having Evan to boost your defense of the team and also to prevent you from being killed by Jave's counters that easily. And Rachel here is just for debuff. So you will see that with Feng Yan here, the good thing is in your first 2 waves, you can actually just use Feng Yan's skills to kill off the mobs. In this case, I use Taka's skill to kill so that he will be on cooldown, because you technically aren't going to use Taka's top skill that early anyway, because you need the boss's HP to fall very low for it to be very effective. So upon entering the J phase, take a safer route and just shield up first, in case Javes decide to counter on you right from the start. Then use the Phoenix, and then try to nuke Jave with Feng Yan's top skill as well as Taka's bottom skill. You can actually check the HP percentage of Jave from that particular screen. So once he's down to 30%, using the top skill will be the most effective. But unfortunately, if you miss any of the weakness hit, then the damage is definitely gonna suffer. And Taka did take quite a bit of damage there from Jave's counter, unfortunately. So this is the very RNG factor for this particular Castle Rush. But at least with Evan here, you don't have to worry too much about taking big damage if he does counter through the shield, which I realized that he doesn't really counter when there's a shield. So that could be another way to, prevent him or reduce his counter rate. So as you can see, my units are pretty low on health, and one random counter kills Feng Yan, but that's okay as long as Taka is still around. And we have the towards this point it's really pointless to heal. So really just try to get as much damage as you can, but unfortunately we really can't do that much damage. So it's a lower score, but also a safer run if you think this is better for you. Okay, so I hope this video helped, and if it did, do give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more Castle Rush videos coming in the next 2 days. Thank you so much and see you!